earlier in the show here. I'm talking 2 hours ago here. Right when Luke G came on, and we told you guys that he is a Detroit Lions guy. Drew over here in the chat come out and said that Barry Sanders was the greatest running back of all time. I clapped back him and I said Emmitt Smith is the greatest or the greatest running back of like all time. Luke is already laughing here. So Luke, is Barry Sanders the greatest running back of all time?
Absolutely. Let's be honest here, right? There's no talk of the Great Wall of Detroit going on around here. Nobody talks about that. There's no. It took Emmitt Smith how many more years to stay in the league to get the record that Barry was about to break before he just decided enough is enough? Like Emmitt Smith was in the league at least another 4 or 5 more years before that. I mean, he had already been on how many more teams? He was on the Cardinals. I mean, he had been around. To put Emmitt Smith there based solely on statistics would be doing a disservice. There are so many more talented running backs than Emmitt Smith. I'm not saying he's trash. I'm just saying that if he was anything like Barry, or he could do anything like Barry was doing, we wouldn't have to have this debate. Barry is such a special talent that you may never, ever, ever, ever see a running back like Barry Sanders again. I've already seen a bunch of Emmitt Smiths, and it's because he's not such a special talent to where he can be put on the level of a Barry Sanders. That guy knew in order for him to submit himself as the top running back and get in before Barry, he had to play longer and get more yards.
Tori, what are your thoughts on
I
that?
uh, if Barry the best ever, I would say it's a 1-1A between him and Jim Brown. Emmitt Smith.
Mm.
If you're going to say Emmitt Smith's the greatest running back, then Frank Gore's the second greatest running back of all time.
Good point.
Frank Gore has played in the league. Longevity plays a part into that. Adrian Peterson. Look at him. He's played until he's 34, 35. Is he still with Detroit? Did Detroit resign him?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because I can't think if
Luke,
they did or
yeah,
not.
Luke's
but still,
probably the guy to ask that.
You say is who still in Detroit?
Adrian Peterson.
Did they resign Adrian Peterson?
No. They have DeAndre Swift and they added Jamal Williams and then they drafted Jamar Jefferson out of Oregon State.
Yep. All right. So yeah, but there again, like to me, that kind of tainted AP's thing. Just should have hung it up when you hung it up. But there again, some guys don't. But that to me, Emmitt Smith just kept playing long after he was an effective running back. To me, which tarnishes it. And I don't think, to me, the yards, yeah, okay, you're number one in NFL rushing, but to me, it loses its luster after that point. Where like Barry walked away perfectly healthy, was going to probably break the record the next year, and
that year,
yeah. And Emmitt, it's like I said, Emmitt just kept playing. So it's like I said, by that standard, Frank Gore would be the second best running back. I think he's like second or third all time now in rushing yards.
Yeah.
So but he's played for like 15 years. So that's where I don't think that Emmitt. I don't even think Emmitt's in the top 5.
No.
So
no.
So I've been looking at some numbers here and years and teams they play with and like whatnot, but we are overlooking probably one of the most underrated running backs of all time, LaDainian Tomlinson from the San Diego Chargers. LT, man, he played what, 10 years in the league, and he had just under 14,000 yards. Yes, Barry Sanders had 15 or 16,000 yards and played just as many seasons, but LT had more. Like he helped his team more than I think Barry Sanders helped his team.
That's because they didn't know how to build around Barry Sanders. The team was literally awful. He was that team.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep in mind the Lions. The Lions in 1991 went 12-4. Their starting quarterback that year was Rodney Peete. He was not very good. They end up getting all the way to the NFC Championship with a guy named Eric Kramer. I know who. That's what I said too, right? Nope. Who was not very good. And yeah, they have a good defense, but essentially he had to run. The things that you look at that stand out with me with Barry versus Emmitt. Emmitt has never had a 2,000-yard rushing season. Barry has, right? Emmitt has never had an 1,800-yard rushing season. Barry has. Emmitt has had one of the greatest offensive lines in NFL history. And again, he played 15 years. 15 years he played um in with this guy. And you look at Barry, who I believe gave 10 years it was that he gave him,
Yep.
or
10.
so 10 years, a guy played 5 more years after him. And just to get a record that would have never been there. Now keep this in mind too. Barry had 3,062 rushing yards, right? And still had a 5-yard average per carry rushing average. That's nuts in a 10-year season. That's nuts. If you were to go and look at Emmitt Smith's career, after 15 years is 4.2. And if you were to just look at his 13 years with Dallas, you're talking about 4.2 there. And then with Arizona, obviously, because he was still there for no reason, 3.3. A guy who did that, and yes, he had like 4,000 rushing attempts because he was trying to catch the guy that he knew he was going to forever be compared to. Sorry. Not sorry.
Corey, do you think there's an opportunity for anybody in the NFL right now to take that crown from Barry?
As the greatest running back?
We don't care what you think, Tori, because that's how we're going to end the show tonight. Man Hour Nation, rise up. After show has started, guys. Join us on the after show. Much appreciated.